Hi, Craig. Welcome back to the Free Speech Cage.
Thanks, Max. It's always good to be here.
I think today we're going to talk about All the President's Men, which you saw last night.
Yes, my wife and I went to the Brattle, got some beer, got some popcorn. We made a date out of seeing this movie from 1976.
And so, how long into it did you get before you fell asleep?
Well, I never fell asleep because all the time during the movie I was thinking, oh my God, this is so much like today in many ways. And also, oh my God, this isn't at all like today. Now, it was a very long, slow movie. And if you've got any sort of attention challenges, which is becoming a real thing, you might not want to sit through the whole thing. A lot of newsroom scenes, a lot of talking scenes, no car chases, not even many raised voices for that matter. But it does depict a very impactful time in American history when Nixon and company broke into the Watergate to bug the Democratic National Committee's phone lines, and how that led to arrests, and how that led to a Washington Post series of stories, and eventually, the ouster of the entire Nixon administration.
Right. So, why back then did Democrats and Republicans both agree on the same thing, that that's wrong, no matter who does it? But today we have none of that. Well, not none of that, but it's just.
I'm not sure they both agreed. I think to some extent Republicans in power circled initially around the president, and then what they decided as time went on and their numbers started to fall is who's going to get off this sinking ship first. But there was an idea that this just isn't what America does, and now I think we have a government's led by President and convicted felon Donald Trump, and the convicted felon is really important because that's at the core of who Trump is, and that's a core of his administration. When you start off with a blanket pardon for 1,600 people that stormed the Capitol and got people killed, when you start off with that sort of administration, you throw all the norms out the window, and that's where we are. So Trump is doing stuff, assassinations in the Pacific, bulldozing parts of the White House, putting his name on the Kennedy Center. He's doing stuff that is A, arguably illegal, and B, arguably petty, and C, stuff that a normal person would have the self-regulation to say, no, America doesn't do this in 2025, soon to be 2026.
Well, and all the good men, or just even historically, do you believe Nixon was impeached because the senators and congressmen all agreed that he needed to be impeached ultimately? Or do you believe it's because the public would not vote for him, so the Republicans jettisoned him?
I think it was a combination of both of those things. I think the Republicans would have happily stayed with Nixon if the American public had said, we don't care. And I think we're seeing that with Trump now, which is people are starting to say, we care. And I don't know exactly what it is any person cares about. So do we care about the assassinations of Venezuelans in the international ocean? Do we care about the rate of inflation and lack of affordability? People care about different things. But Republicans are getting the message in election after election that the American public is upset, and they're upset at Donald Trump. So we'll start to see more and more people peel away from the Trump administration. And part of it is the guy's got no sense of shame, no sense of honor, no sense of anything but self. And he's doing stuff that just is what some people would call batshit crazy. He's just doing stuff because for now he can. And when the wheels fall off the bus, I don't know. But if we get to where we were in 1976, we'll see some breaks. The thing is, who knows when that will be. In 1976, the brakes hit way earlier. No one was getting killed. I mean, Nixon didn't get impeached for his illegal insertions into Cambodia and Laos, right?
Exactly.
He got impeached because of this whole bungled burglary and cover-up and tape operation. Donald Trump's not hiding anything, or if he is, what he's not hiding is certainly enough to raise eyebrows and more. And yet America as a nation is saying, okay, that's scary.
Well, how much do you think was the 70s were a very turbulent time economically? How much do you think? Because like Trump, I've said all along, Trump will only go when the economy is so bad, people want answers. But was the same thing, was that in the movie at all?
That was absolutely not in the movie, and that was no shame on the movie. It's a super interesting movie, but it was a movie about a news story. So you could make the same movie about Charles Dickens, writing whatever he wrote, or Steinbeck and the Grapes of Wrath. Great movies, great subjects, with lots of interesting background stuff. But boy, it got a little bit tedious. The conversation after conversation after conversation in the newsroom, in the editing room, in the this and the that. And I don't think we have the attention span for that sort of movie anymore. And I don't think we have the attention span for that sort of political dialogue outside of movies anymore. We've gone from a 24 or even 7-day news cycle to whatever flicks across your phone in the moment. And Trump has mastered that distract them sort of thing with the magician. Don't listen to them talk, watch their hands. We're all listening to Trump talk and his people talk, but their hands are moving all over the place. And we've thus far given him a pass, and I think you're right. As people feel the pinch of the economy more, as people feel the pinch of health care premiums more, they will stop being so forgiving on the assassinations and the naming of the Kennedy Center and Trump's face on national park entrance books, and all these things that are petty, illegal, immoral, goes against the American sort of mythical nature. All those things will start to pile up, but it's going to start with people saying, geez, I'm not in good shape economically. And the movie did not talk about that. It was all about the break-in, all about the story the Washington Post broke. And I don't know that we'd see that today.
Yeah, I mean, I'd almost say like back then it was virtual signaling also. Like, we're the New York Times, we're the literate people, we read the Washington Post, and, we fixed this problem. Like, we exposed it and we fixed it. So that's sort of how and I think the same thing is happening today. It's just that the people that are virtual signaling it's just more spread out. It's not like the New York Times, right? It's just people like you and I.
I was going to say, it's people like us on the free speech cage. And that is sort of one of the issues is people are finding, they call them echo chambers, of course, but people are finding their particular sources of something. In a lot of cases, it's not information. It's myth, or it's lies, or it's propaganda. And arguably with a broadcast or with a newspaper broadsheet, you can be less narrowly tailored to a specific clientele. So there's always been the rags that say this or that. Now we're way into that. And so the importance of day-to-day impacts on people, I think, is even greater. Folks are going to have to feel the pain of the Trump administration personally before they really start thinking, wow, we're assassinating people, or wow, we've decided to completely get rid of vaccine research, or whatever it might be that's truly problematic in their lives long term, as well as the economic factors.
Yes, a lot of damage has been done. Well, thanks for coming up to the free speech case.
Thanks, Max. And next time we meet, we'll talk about 3 Days of the Condor.
I can't wait.
Well, I bet you can't wait. Nothing new under the sun.